third day at Label Expo, and what a show, to be honest. There have been more than 400 exhibitors from all over the world, to be honest. It's been from the tiny little bowls to the most fantastic substrates to, yeah, and now we are actually talking about substrates because I am in one of my favorite companies in the industry. It's KURZ. I'm here with Michael. Michael, so good to see you again.
Great to see you, Mark.
I actually, I have a little thing with you because you owe me something.
And that is?
When I saw you the last time, you forgot there was no machine when I was visiting you in North Carolina because you already brought it to Chicago, right?
Exactly.
So here it is, right?
Here it is, the Uniliner 2D system.
Yeah. Before we talk about the machine in details, what does the machine do?
Well, the machine is a digital metallization unit is what it is. So we're able to do digital embellishment. If you look right over your shoulder here, we see inkjet on transfer, where we're inkjetting onto the back of the transfer foil. Mm-hmm. And that's the technology that this machine is based on.
And when you very detailed to me now specify that it's on the back side of the substrate, there's a reason for that, right?
Right, and it's not on the back side of the substrate,
backside
it's
of the foil.
The back side of the transfer foil.
Transfer
right?
foil, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
And the reason for that is we're able to get very fine, detailed images, but it just makes a huge difference in opening up the substrates that this technology can come to. All the way from thin films like you would use for a shrink sleeve, standard pressure-sensitive labels like what you see here, but then even up to open structured papers like wine labels, labels for spirits and that type of thing. So just a wide range of substrates where traditionally in digital embellishment, some of those substrates weren't on the approved list to use.
So you can essentially do almost anything.
Almost anything. Yeah. With anything though, there's always limits, but really a much wider range.
Super great. In a second we're going to see the machine a little bit in details, but one more thing that I also believe is really important for the user to know. Basically, you can have overprint on these foils, right? So it can operate as if people understand the technology behind a cold foil. This can be used as also like a cold foil thing.
Absolutely.
So it's not just top foil, but also, what do you call it, under foil, or what do you call it?
Yeah, well, what it would be is the focus that people, when they kind of look into digital embellishment and start to learn, one of the questions we ask is, do you want to do pre-print or post-print? Because if we make the metallization pre-print, then we have the opportunity to put any type of color or shade over primarily a silver foil. Now, in another case, it would be post-print, especially if a brand is focused on a shade. There's a specific foil shade that is their brand color. They don't want that printed, they want the actual transfer foil. And that's when we do something like this, where it's pre-printed, and then we'll put the metallization on top of it.
So this is like, so you can say that just to put something where people maybe realize it in relation to like the analog world, we have like a cold foil and similar to kind of hot foil in the same machine.
Exactly. Exactly.
Or is it entirely right or wrong? Or I mean, it's not a hot foil because I understand the difference, but I just think that, you know, if you have a label like this and you put it on top, that is typically what you use hot foil for, right?
Hot foil, by and large, is usually post-print, right? It's a printed piece and then decorated after. Cold foil, primarily, is going to go down first or in the middle of the printing process, but there's always follow-on print behind it, so that we can get some of those cool things where we overprint.
Super. Okay, so here's the machine. The actual machine is of course here, but we have something that is feeding the machine. So you have the roll is put
unwinder.
On the unwinder, and then it unwounds, and you have, is it like for tension that you have these?
It's so we keep the tension there, and then this is what we call a web guide. So as good as our partners are in making these rolls, they're not perfect. So as they unroll, we want to make sure we're always looking at one edge of the paper to keep it aligned in the whole system. So it keeps that, it's able to move the web back and forth a little bit.
Okay, so it can basically adjust micro adjustments to make sure that you have the 100% aligned path, paper path, or
Absolutely.
substrate path. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then we have a device here. What is that?
Yeah, primarily what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be looking for a code. And the reason we're going to look for a code is it's digital. So we can print multiple jobs on one roll, and when the 2D code comes through here, it's going to tell us we're moving on to the next job, which allows us to go and access a file that will give us whatever that next generation is.
So that basically means that even though that you have maybe this, the same preprint, you could, at all the labels, you could have different foilings.
Correct.
Yeah.
So on this roll, there's another design. This is a body lotion label. There's a shampoo label that is following it on this roll right now. And the machine won't stop. It'll just recognize the code. That'll give it the instructions of what the new metallic decoration looks like, and it's on the fly, instant order change.
Fantastic. And now we have recognized what we want to do job-wise.
Yeah.
And we have now made sure that the paper is aligned.
And tension.
And the tension. And now it's entering the actual machine.
Yep. So now it enters the actual.
Does this machine have a name, or what do you refer to
it?
It
is the Uniliner 2D.
Uniliner 2D. But this is like an offline solution. You call it something else if it's integrated, right?
If we integrate it to a machine, say like an HP 6K platform machine, that we call a jetliner.
Okay. But
same
it is essentially
application
the same machine.
technology.
Yeah.
Right? Same transfer technology, but integrated to a printing press.
And when it's integrated to a printing press, means that you also have the control interfaces from how you
Absolutely.
operate the press. And okay.
Absolutely.
Great. So, what is going on inside a machine like this?
Yeah, what's going on inside the machine right now is we're going to the web will come into the machine. We're going to do a corona treatment to the surface of the paper so that the surface tension is ready to accept adhesives and foils.
Yeah.
Okay?
And that is despite what kind of substrate. You always use the corona treatment, right?
You know, what we find in different companies, some companies use it 100% of the time, all the time.
Okay.
Others find out where it works well from them. We don't dictate that as much.
Okay, so it's
we
not
just
like
make sure it's there.
So it's not always on, basically. So that's what you're saying.
Some places, yes. Others, no.
Yeah. Okay, great.
As the web comes up, then what we're going to do is we're going to come under our inkjet head here, and we're going to inkjet whatever we want that metallic image to be. Interesting, though, is and at this point, the foil is coming through. And we're now going to bring it under the inkjet head, but we have the back of the foil up.
Which you can actually see there, right? Because what comes down here is the back side of the foil.
Yeah, so the back side of the foil is coming down. We're going to bring that under the inkjet head, and then as soon as we make that print, we're going to use a low power LED UV, and we're going to pin that image right there so it's stabilized. Gives us incredible detail.
Yeah.
Okay? Then we're going to bring that foil web and we're going to meet it up with the substrate. And we're going to transfer that image that we printed onto the substrate. And then for a final cure, we're going to use a higher power LED UV.
Which makes it stick, basically.
And really cure that whole package of substrate, adhesive, and transfer foil all together. And then importantly, because sustainability is such a big thing today, all that is going on to that substrate is what I'd call a lacquer package, right? The shade or the color, minimal amounts of aluminum. Interestingly enough, the level of that is 6,000 times thinner than a human hair.
That's amazing.
So
right?
very small amount of aluminum.
Yeah.
And then the carrier that brought that lacquer package, it gets taken away. So all that's left on the product is a real light lacquer package that if it goes onto a package or a label that is recyclable, metallization doesn't change anything with that.
That's good to know, right? Yeah. So that's the entire process, except that now it comes out of the machine, of course.
Right, and we have an inspection table there where we can inspect what the product is. So you can see now we've decorated the whole label at this point. Real fine details that are matched up and in register with the print. some solid areas a little bit bigger. And you can see here the 2D code that we read, which was telling us this is the next job, and went from there.
And then you have the rewinder.
This was the job that was previous to it. So
is that the shampoo thing you spoke about?
yes,
as well?
so this was in line. As soon as we read this code, we were able to switch over to this next job.
So, Michael, amazing technology, right? So, who is it for?
Who is it for?
I mean,
well,
of course, it's for labels, that's obvious.
Absolutely.
So, is this kind of machines only for labels, or can you also do them for some other kind of packaging products, or?
So, we have sheet-fed and roll-fed solutions,
okay.
right? And this technology goes into the sheet-fed. We started with roll-fed. We're in development, have one installed in the market today. So the sheet-fed part will grow like this unit has. We also make some 3D inkjet on substrate solutions. Those solutions are sheet-fed and roll-fed as well. Today for the 3D, we only have video here today.
That's okay.
If people want to see that live, they can go to Label Weeks, where you recently visited and saw the 3D.
They can just come to Label Week, and they can also come to INKISH TV because we filmed it, right? So
exactly.
that's great.
Exactly.
So anything that is important to know, I mean, I spoke a little bit about the customers, but I mean, if you are a converter, I think that we have been talking to so many people here at Label Expo that the trend also in label is shorter runs, more variables, the need for faster turnaround time, and also the expectations in digital is typically shorter turnaround time on deliverables, deliveries and things like that. Is that the market that KURZ addressed with this machine?
Absolutely. I think what it comes down to is value. So if you can be more efficient, then you're bringing more value. If you bring a label that adds value to your brand's product, you're going to be able to drive revenue and profit in your label manufacturing business. That's what we want to help people do. But we want to take away what some of the barriers are to that, right? So our conventional technologies, which aren't going anywhere, they're still great, they don't fit well into a digital workflow. This type of technology does. One of the samples that we were working with is a whiskey label.
A whiskey?
A whiskey label.
Yeah.
But the whiskey label, in a metallization, we're able to call out which bottle number it is of 4,000. And you know, in that craft whiskey market,
oh yeah,
people would love to be able to say, this is...
You know that too, right, Chica?
this is a craft, one of 200, one of 1,000.
Yeah.
Well, there's no other way to do that in metallization.
That's
the
true.
only way we can do that is with the digital technology.
Yeah. Wow. And you're responsible for sales of the digital embellishment solutions for KURZ, or?
I am in North America.
In North America.
Right.
So you have a big market, lots of potentials. How has the show been for you?
It has been fantastic. You and I saw each other at D-Scoop in Colorado, and I think one of the things that was talked about there is, wow, how great it is. Just first event where everybody actually got to meet again, without masks.
Yeah.
We've had a few months to get even better at it, and Label Expo has proved, it's great to be back as an industry, just being able to engage one-on-one. But it's been 4 years. There's a lot of new technology.
And you see it everywhere, right?
Right.
So did you have time to go and see some of the other things on the show?
That's what I'm hoping for this afternoon.
Okay, I won't hold on more to you right now. Thank you,
All right,
Michael.
thank you, Mark.
Great to see you.